Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my channel. Welcome back to Black Girls Wine TV. I am your host, Shayla Renato, and I'm excited because in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the 6 common mistakes that new wine lovers make. You might want to stay tuned if you want to make sure you aren't making these mistakes too. Okay, so to jump right in, one of the first common mistakes that I see new wine lovers make is that they go in completely blind. And you're probably like, Shayla, what do you even mean by that? Okay, if you know that you're very curious about wine, but you've only drank the sweet stuff, don't just dive in and pick something up off the shelf that you've never had before. I mean, it's a great way to grow your palate, but you might throw yourself off and then turn yourself away from a wine that's actually really delicious that your palate just hadn't graduated to yet or wasn't ready for. So when you are starting to drink early, I always tell people, they ask me like, what's the fastest way or the quickest way or the easiest way or the cheapest way to get to know my palate and help it grow? The answer to that is try more wine, but try more wine in a controlled setting, which means go to wine festivals, right? You can try a little bit of everything and you can start with the sweet stuff, right? You're not obligated to try other things, okay? Ask a sommelier, ask a professional, go to wine tastings at your local wineries and your local wine shops and talk to them. Let them know where you are. That's the best way to do it. Ask a professional so that you can get some help. All right. Now, if you're like, I've asked professionals, I didn't find what I liked, I need some more help. Okay, that's totally a thing. You could just need a little bit more time to grow. Then follow some professionals online. There was recently an article in VinePair that I'll tag down in the comments below with 15 wine professionals that you should be following on social media right now. Black Girls Wine happens to be one of them, but the other wine professionals in that list are absolutely amazing. And some of them are really great teachers. The ones that I know personally, right? Is when I say some of them. They're really great teachers and you'll learn a lot and you'll be able to kind of navigate where you want to go next. So don't just go in blind. There's way too much research out there for you. And I actually wrote an article about that too that I'll tag down below about how to get into wine and ways that you can educate yourself so that you don't just have to start drinking anything and everything and then falling out of love with some really great varietals. Number two kind of goes along with what I just said, and that's that new wine lovers tend to not educate themselves. I can tell you this is an area that I actually made a mistake in as a new wine lover. I did not educate myself. Now, some people are going to be super judgy when you show up to wine tastings and wine things and you don't know everything they know, and that's okay. Don't let that intimidate you, all right? It's okay not to know everything, but when you're first getting started, take the time to kind of get to know what's out there, what's possible. Google is your best friend. When you Google, a lot of wine blogs are going to come up. Great ones like Wine Folly, Wine Enthusiast, VinePair. There's so much out there. Black Girls Wine. There's so many resources out there for you to learn more about wine that there's no reason for you to have to just jump in. And then there's WSET. WSET 1 is a great course for new wine lovers. You learn about wine and it's very great for beginners because it helps you get to know a little bit. And if you have the luxury of being able to take it in person or get samples and take it virtually, hence COVID-19, then you'll have the opportunity to taste some different things, but at least to learn more as well. Number 3. All right. So number 3 is investing in your journey through exploration. Now, a lot of times new wine lovers will be like, oh my gosh, it's more than $10. Why would I want to do that? Because it really allows you to broaden your palate with quality wine. Investing in your wine journey is another great way to open up your palate and X off that mistake that a lot of newbies make. Cheap wine is not always the best wine, right? A lot of wines that are inexpensively made have a lot of chemicals and alternate things that people add in so that the wine always tastes the same. Understand this. weather is different from year to year. So if your wine always tastes the same, it may be time for you to graduate to something a little bit different. All right? I am somebody who does not trash wines. I'm not going to trash any wines, but I'm just here to say that quality wines are not going to taste the same every single year. There are certain qualities that a grape will have, like Cabernet Sauvignon has certain qualities that grape has that you may find in a Cabernet Sauvignon one year to the next year, from one region to the next region, right? But the wine isn't going to taste exactly the same because it could have been a really rainy year the year before, could have been a really sunny year the year before. It varies, and just like the weather varies, your wine is going to vary. So when you start buying the cheap wines and it's $5 and every time you buy it, it tastes the same, you got to start asking yourself some questions. And that's a big mistake that new wine lovers tend to make. Number 4, we are all guilty of this. I, for one, can say that I have been guilty of it in my lifetime. So listen, I'm not here to judge you. New wine lovers tend to only buy bottles because they're pretty. Listen, I have been guilty of it too. When I first started my wine journey, even when I first started this show, Wine Down Live, I would buy bottles that were absolutely gorgeous, and sometimes they were trash. If we're being honest. You can go back to season 1 of Wine Down Live and see what I enjoyed. But sometimes they were literally not that great. And so when they aren't that great, you tend to be like, oh my God, I'll never have this varietal again. But maybe it was just a cheap wine that wasn't made well. It's okay. Don't let the pretty bottle scare you away. There's lots of great wine out there. But don't let the pretty bottle fool you. There are plenty of wines that have great bottle and great taste, but don't think that just because the bottle has great looks, that the great taste is going to come along with it. All right. Number 5. All right. So number 5 is one that is near and dear to my heart because it seems like every celebrity under the sun is making a wine. And that's a common mistake that a lot of new wine lovers make. They get caught up in celebrity. Listen, I get that such and such may be your favorite singer, such and such may be your favorite baller, such and such may be your favorite entertainer, but a lot of them I won't say a lot of them. Not everybody knows wine, okay? Some of them are doing it because it's a great business opportunity. Some of them are doing it because they legit are into it. FYI, Carmelo Anthony is into wine. I don't know if he has his own wine yet. I haven't seen news of it. But if he comes out with it, his might be one to try. He's into wine. And there's a lot of basketball players that are. If you ever listen to the Carmelo Anthony podcast, some of them are really into it. But not to just pick on the ballers, because there's everybody making wine, musicians and everything else. It doesn't mean that it's going to be great just because a celebrity puts their name on it. Okay? A lot of them are banking on the fact that you're a fan, so you're going to buy it. So make sure you're mindful of that. As a new wine drinker, don't think that just because this person is famous, that the wine is going to be everything that you wished for and more. And a lot of times, these celebrity wines that I've been seeing are varietals that new wine drinkers aren't going to like anyway. One thing that I called out, I named a few years ago on my show, a transition wine. Okay. Transition wines are a great way for you to go from new wine lover to more seasoned, more experienced wine lover. And those are those fruit forward wines that aren't necessarily sweet, but they're giving you a little taste, those semi-sweet, those dry, not extra dry, but just those dry wines that you're going to appreciate because of the flavors in the wine and the taste of the wine on your palate. And it makes a great transition for you to something a little bit drier. And so what I've been seeing lately from a lot of the celebrity wines is that they're not even transition wines. So it doesn't also mean that they're terrible just because you don't like it. If you have a beginner's palate, you may not be able to appreciate where that wine is yet. But that doesn't mean that you can't get there. So don't get discouraged. All right. You definitely will get there eventually. Number 6. Another mistake that new wine lovers, make is that they don't follow the pros. Okay. By pros, I mean people who are seasoned in the industry. They are wine professionals, they're sommeliers, they are people who have been sipping wine, making wine, drinking wine for quite some time. You have to follow them. You need to see what they're drinking. You need to see how they got there. You need to hear their story. If you want to learn how to appreciate wine and appreciate wines that you maybe haven't gotten to yet, it's important that you understand how they got there and what makes that wine so special. I see a lot of new wine lovers and they're like, oh my God, can you help me learn more about wine? And when I look at who they're following, it's a bunch of accounts that are equal to Shade Room. You're not following anybody who's a wine professional that you can actually learn from. So make sure that if you're serious about your wine journey, that you're following a lot of the wine professionals. And the article that I mentioned earlier with the 15 wine professionals is a great place to start. But there's a ton out there, and I usually share a lot of it in my Instagram stories. So if you're looking for some cool wine professionals, make sure you're following us over on Instagram and Facebook, and that's at Black Girls Wine. Hold up, wait a minute. If you watched this far in the video, make sure you're subscribed. I've got way more fun wine content coming that's going to help you grow your palate and grow your life experience. I'm here to be an inspiration. So like, comment on this video, and subscribe. And now, let's continue. Okay, so I asked this question, I posed this question to my Instagram audience, and I really wanted to share some of their answers because they were really, really good. Some common mistakes that new wine lovers make. So here's the thing. I'm going to share their answers with you all because they were so good. Oh gosh, it's like 21 comments. I'm going to share the really good ones though, okay? So, drinking red wine too cold, pairing food incorrectly, and thinking it's the wine they don't like. That's a really good one. Shout out to Cork and Keg Tours, because a lot of times when it comes to drinking red wine, you're putting it in the fridge and it's too cold and you don't like it, when that wine would perform much better with a little bit of oxygen, aka aerating the wine, aka letting it breathe, right? And a warmer temperature, all right? Shout out to, let's see, Simply D said drinking only one glass. That is a huge beginner's mistake. Try it again for a second time. All right. This is another good one, you guys. Shout out to Vent Noir. She said giving up early on a varietal. That's a huge mistake. Let me tell you something. When you first start drinking wine and you start branching out and trying other things, everything's gonna taste dry to you, even if it's not. Because you're used to a Moscato or a sweet red or something like that. Don't knock that varietal. I always tell people, if you didn't like it, try it again in a year. All right? That's the golden rule. If you don't like it, try it again in a year. And I guarantee you, a lot of times, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I had no idea that this is what this was gonna be like. Trust me. Let's see. Not trusting their palate. They like what they like. Tanisha_Nisha_Miss.T. That's a good one. So when it comes to not trusting your palate, understand this. Some people are gonna like big, bold, spicy reds. Some people are gonna like Bordeaux's. Some people are going to like, what's another one? A Burgundy, right? Just because they like it doesn't mean that you have to. It's okay if you like big fruity reds. Like those big fruity reds. Like, your palate is your palate and you have to trust yourself. Trust your gut, okay? Don't feel bad for not liking something that one of your favorite pros does, all right? All right, let's see. We had some really good ones. If it tastes nice, you then enjoy it. If it tastes nice to you, then you enjoy it. Being afraid to allow your palate to expand, trying different wines, and budget-friendly wines are nice too. That's a huge one. Thank you, Morgan_the Misses. When it comes to trying wines that are outside of your budget versus in your budget, just because it's $100 bottle doesn't mean it's gonna be the best wine in the world. Okay? Don't let these wine reviews and stuff fool you, okay? Sometimes this stuff is nowhere near up your alley, and that's fine. You don't have to like it, all right? Just know that just because they like it doesn't mean you have to, all right? Um, Asia.Alexander said exactly what I just said. Thinking a bigger price tag equals good quality. All right, Sharice D. Smith, one of our society members in the Black Girls Wine Society, said that one of the biggest mistakes they make, myself included, is they find a wine and they won't drink anything else. Also, they think if they're not spending a lot for wine, they're not getting good quality. Great point, Sharice. Just because you are drinking a wine that is not the $100 bottle doesn't mean that that's not a great wine, all right? And just because you found a wine that you like, you won't be able to grow your palate if you only drink that wine. You've got to branch out. So don't be afraid to try more things, okay? All right. Support local wineries. That's a huge mistake. Guys, if it's a local winery in your area, go try the wines. See how they're performing. See how grapes are performing in your region. It might surprise you. You might actually like it. Okay? Just try it out. That's all I'm saying. Not attending tastings to explore wine regions, varietals. I convinced myself I didn't like Zinfandel because it was spicy and would only drink Pinot Noir, and avoided Malbec just because. Still learning and it's fun. That was from Osco de Gaulle. That's a really good point, because I guarantee you the first time she probably tried Zinfandel was still in her early phase. When it comes to wine, Zinfandels are known for being very fruity wines. So a lot of people really enjoy it. And a lot of seasoned wine drinkers are like, oh, Zinfandel, sometimes it can feel sweeter to them because they're used to such dry wines. So a lot of this goes into experience. Don't feel bad because you're at the beginning of your wine journey and you've got some growing to do. It's okay. We all started there. I know I did. You can go back and watch Wine Down Live to see exactly where I started. Moral of the story is in this video that you can't be afraid, and don't let these common mistakes get in your way from growing your palate and always being open to trying something new. When it comes to wine, it grows with you and your palate grows over time. If you have done or made any of these common mistakes, tell me down below. Talk to me a little bit about your wine drinking experience, what you love, what you don't, and let me know in the comments below if you love this video and if you have any questions, what you want to hear from me next. Over on Facebook and Instagram at Black Girls Wine. Come on, talk to me. I want to hear from you. Thanks for watching.